Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Several have asked, and over a period of time, about the store-bought Phalaenopsis that are growing in the home and how they're getting on. I'll put a link to the previous video, which was effectively a 3-month update. That was back in April, I think, and we haven't looked at them since April. I don't know when in April, in the middle I think somewhere, but this has been asked by several people. I'll do them in the same order as we did last time. The only way I can differentiate is I've got a small one and a full-size one and another full-size one that's got a tag in it. Now the tag doesn't relate to anything in particular, it does actually say Amsterdam. I don't believe it. No planes at all have gone over this morning. It's been hovering out there, waiting for me to pick the camera up. So when we last looked at this one, the one with the tag in it, it was doing absolutely nothing. There was no root growth and no sign of vegetative growth. The spike was cut off to try and get that to kick in. Which it has. It is now growing a new leaf. Unfortunately, it's developed a split. But then this one looks like it's a bit prone to that sort of thing. I don't know. But anyway, it hopefully it will still grow to full size, but it's going to have a split in the end of it because it's got it now. As far as root growth is concerned, yes, there are some root tips. So there is some active, there's a lovely big one at the top there, nice active root tip. So there is some response from the roots, some branching going on. I haven't seen any new ones come out at the top of the plant, but there's branching going on down in the pot. So there's stuff going on. So this one has come back into growth. It's not dramatic in the pot, but there's some going on, and we do have a new leaf. Hopefully that will grow on to full size. So that's that one. And the next one we looked at last time was the little one. Endearingly called the little one, but I'm not sure how much longer we're going to be able to call it the little one because it's growing. Now, this one has matured a leaf. I'm not sure whether it's fully grown yet, whether it's going to continue on growing a little bit more. This one's got leaves of various shapes and sizes because obviously at some point it did a long thin one. Cool, the size of that mealybug. Let me just get that now while I'm looking at it. Yes, these have got a couple, they do appear now and again. Not a dramatic outbreak, they're just there. Chances are they're down in the pot, and every now and again one decides to come up and have a look at the leaves. Anyway, as far as this one is concerned, it has grown one new root out of the base of the plant. There's another one of the surface roots that's branching over on the left hand side there. There's a reasonable amount of root activity going on down in the pot, including around the bottom of the pot. So we've got root activity and we've got a maturing leaf. So this one's growing, it's doing okay, and with the new leaf it doesn't look like the little one anymore. It doesn't look as small as it used to, and its mother, effectively, because there were two in the same pot, has also matured a new leaf, so that one's got bigger. This one's growing a new root out of the base, and there's root tips going on in the pot. So there's root activity in the surface, out of the base of the plant, and down in the pot as well, and coming out the bottom of the pot by the looks of it. So again, spikes coming off trigger vegetative growth. So we've had a new leaf on here and we've got root growth. We've had a new leaf on here and there's root growth. We've started a new leaf and there's root growth. So they're all actually doing okay. If they do enough root growth now through the summer season when the temperatures are good, because I'm tight with the heating, I'd rather put a jumper on. Obviously there's no heating goes on through the summer, and at some point during the autumn I start getting cold enough in the evenings that I think oh, blow it, I'm going to put the heating on. Most of the time I'll get away with, I'll just put a jumper on. Because, you know, to heat the whole house an hour before bedtime just seems stupid to me. So I'm very tight with the heating. Consequently, as we go into autumn, these will get a bit of a temperature drop, which is often said is needed to bring the spikes out. I'm just trying to remember where I got these from. Where did I get? I can't remember. I'll have to do a pop-up. I need to know what time of year I got them to know when they were actually in bloom last, if you see what I mean. So I'll have to go back and have a look at my own video, won't I? But most hybrid Phalaenopsis are either summer blooming or they're winter blooming. It's highly likely these are going to be winter blooming. Otherwise we're going to have a long wait, because I don't think they're going to do it this year if they're supposed to be summer blooming. So I suspect they're going to bloom over the winter period sometime. And many say that the drop in temperature in autumn is what triggers the spike. This may or may not be true. I don't grow enough of these to know one way or the other. But at the end of the day, they're not going to get anything special to try and induce spikes. I grow them in the home. They'll put up with what they get. They'll either bloom or they won't. So yeah, quick update on those. They're doing okay. I mean, I'm not a Phalaenopsis grower by any means. These were got purely to do this series and deliberately grown in the home. Many people are growing orchids in the home. They have no other choice. You know, people who live in apartments and flats and things like that, you know, they have no outside space. So they either grow them in the home on their windowsills and things like that, or they don't have any. You know, those are the choices. So the idea was to replicate those growing conditions rather than the grow room, you know, which is a different thing altogether. And quite honestly, these would not be happy in the winter out here because it gets too flipping cold for them. They'll be much happier in the house during the winter. So they'll be accommodated better to that end. But boy, would they like it out here in the summer. You know, up 27, 28 degrees at 75% humidity. They would absolutely love that. But they're being grown in the house. So quick update on the 3 store-bought Phalaenopsis, and they were literally, for those of you who haven't watched the rest of the video, there was a mass of Phalaenopsis. It was actually a do-it-yourself store, yeah, you know, where you go in to get screwdrivers and come out with Phalaenopsis and forget your screwdrivers. But literally there were a sea of blooms, and I just chose a couple that had blooms that I like and picked them up and bought them. I didn't study the plants, I didn't look at the root systems. It was pretty blooms, must have, which is what an awful lot of people do. So again, trying to replicate those circumstances. I could have got home and had a pot full of dead roots. I didn't know what I'd bought until we got them home. I was lucky, the root systems were quite good. So anyway, those are they. See you next time.